Well, time's here. We're gonna get started on this Trailblazer SS. Get all the fluids drained out of it. Make sure everything is as dry as it can be before I start yanking the engine out. Hopefully the engine's not hurt too bad. Kind of open just a thrust bearing. There is some material in the oil. I'll put some pictures up. I think I've still got some pictures of that where I cut the filter apart and drain the oil. But this is what we got here, and it's about time to get it out and make it live again. I got big plans for this one. It's going to be a super nice ride for my wife, and hopefully she's excited about it. I'm going to get the time lapse rolling and we'll dig in. Alright, well, I've gotten quite a bit done. Probably can't see much of it. Hang on, let me turn on some lights here. Alright, here we go. We are hollow. Everything is out in a pile on the floor. So here's what I want to do. Kind of want to go over what's going on with the engine. Show you what I found. And it looks like we caught it just in time. I don't really see a whole lot of scars on the crank. The bearings have not spun. So as far as I'm concerned, that's good. This is the biggest part of the damage that I've found, is that crankshaft there. All right. The cylinder bores actually still look pretty darn good. They're probably going to need a hone, but in reality, I think they look pretty nice still. There's still some cross hatching at the bottom. Camshaft appears to be in good shape. I don't see anything obviously wrong with the camshaft. This is one of those things that I think we caught just in the nick of time. And I'm talking about like just in the nick of time. I'm going to try to find some more numbers on this crankshaft because I think what we've got here is a stroker. Not positive about that, but I think we've got a stroker, 6 liters, so I'll get a little more information gathered up and maybe make another video on it. Here is our number 4 main. You can see we had problems there as well. And you can probably see got some scoring on that bearing as well. But I'm gonna point toward the bulk of the material and the oil being from right here. I'm also gonna say that that is where all the trash that got picked up and run through the bearings is coming from as well, or came from, maybe I should say. Seems to be anytime you run a good sized stall or you got an engine that makes a lot of power, the converter tries to be hydraulically forced out of the front of that transmission, and that puts a lot of undue pressure back here on your crankshaft, which tries to push that forward and push that crankshaft out the front of the engine. And judging by that, I'm gonna say that that's exactly what happened. It was trying to hydraulic that crankshaft out of the front. So this engine may not be in as good a shape as I had hoped. So these are what came off. of the intercooler before. This is basically how it got into the intercooler, and it does it through some aluminum blocks. So they said the more water I could get to this intercooler, the better. So obviously I took that to heart. Therefore, excuse the welds, there were lots of impurities I was dealing with. I kept getting porous welds, and you can see there are some parts where it actually took pretty well, but this was a pain. I mean, I would not do this again. If I had it to do over, I would probably try to weld the Dash 12A in fittings directly to this stupid intercooler and forego the ability to remove the intercooler brick from the lower. I would buy new shit at that point. A new blower, I don't care. Wouldn't do this again. This took like 3 days to get right. It should not have taken that long. But you can see I've got a leak test set up on this right now. Basically a Schrader valve out of a tire. It's held pressure. It's held 16 psi for 2 days. So we're in pretty good shape as far as that goes. This system should never see over 16 psi because that cap should act like a radiator cap and should bust off at 16 psi and vent pressure. So now at this point, the way this system is going to route is we're going to have our reservoir tank. It's going to be sitting off over here, kind of toward the firewall. Then it's going to feed around here on a 90 to the inside of the supercharger, and then our outside is going to go straight to the back. Let me get this Trailblazer in there. It is a freaking pig. The thing's heavy. So it had 3-bolt flange headers on it, and I decided, oh well, you know, we can weld stainless. So I went ahead and put a stainless V-band on it, and you can see these welds right here. That's horrible. I cleaned it with a wire wheel, cleaned it with acetone, but due to all the carbon and E85 fumes and everything else that are stuck in the steel, it's permeated it on the inside. So no matter what I do, I cannot get a clean weld pool. Even if I back purge, like, it's pulling all the impurities from inside the collector. So I have not had much luck with that. Will it hold? Yeah, probably. I bet I put 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces of freaking material on it. So it's built up, so it'll flow fine. I'm not really worried about any of that. So before, this truck, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a couple of holes right there where they ran some self-tappers into this brace here. You can see a ground here. This is where the original intercooler heat exchanger was. If you can tell anything from the camera shot at all, you can probably tell there wasn't a lot of room there. I don't even know where that put that old heat exchanger. Really? No, I don't see it. No. Okay. I want to say it's probably 12, maybe 13 inches, or 12 or 13 inches square. More or less exactly like the transmission cooler. Well, that in particular was mounted to the radiator, or excuse me, to the condenser core for the air conditioner, and I don't have it here. It wasn't worth bringing because they mounted it with the zip tie stick deals that they give you in those kits, and I'm not a big fan of those for just this reason. It ripped a hole in one of the tubes that run across the condenser core, so there was no way that was going to work again. So anyways, we're going to go back we're going to actually build some bracketry instead of stuff like this right here. This is what was holding the condenser core in itself, with self-tappers in the corner of the condenser core. Not a big fan. These were transmission cooler lines. Those are all going away. They're actually going to the rear of the vehicle now. Once we get ready to rebuild that end of it, they'll actually come out in this area right here, head to the outside of the frame rail. Haven't decided if I'm going over or not, but I'm betting I probably will go over the top of that heat shield just to be safe. Exhaust might get pretty hot on this rig. So, coming down this frame rail right here, we're going to have two -12s, and we're going to have, let's see, we're going to have two -6s to add to them for the transmission cooler. They're going to come back, they're going to jump across right here, come up and over where your airbags are, come down right through here, and then you can see we've got our high flow pump assembly and we've got our heat exchanger assembly. Excuse the diamond plate, that's what we had, so that's what I used. Got some stainless hardware holding in the dual 8-inch fans, and we've got -12 inlet, -12 outlet, feeding the pump, outlets going right here. That is what we have so far. I'm going to build some fuel lines for this in probably a few minutes, so I'll shoot another video once I get those started. Alright, we got the fuel lines built. We took a little bit of time to get them routed up underneath the rocker panel as cleanly as possible. The hose separators, if you drill the threads out, they actually work very well for securing it to the body panels or frame or whatever you want with the simple nutsert tool. Got the two -8s wide into a single -10, go through the fuel filter. Then they are going to Y back out and go to the back of the fuel rails, come out of the front of the fuel rails, go to the fuel pressure regulator, and then the return is already up there under the hood. So that's all I got done last night. Bose TA showed up again, and well, Firebird. But it showed up again. He's been having some transmission trouble. This is a LS3 car, probably makes about 525-ish to the crank. Got a healthy cam in it. It runs hard. 4L60 car. We all know how the 4L60s operate. You start pouring the power to them, the 2-3 shift starts to go away, and then it's just gone. So Brian Tucker's going to come and help me pull the transmission out of this one in the morning, and we're going to yank it out. He's going to take it and rebuild it. We're going to stuff it back in the car, and hopefully Bo will have a nice, reliable, hard shifting transmission when we get done with it. But this car is probably one of the finer moments that we've had at the shop. It is a fan-freaking-tastic vehicle. Just a killer car. But I'll have another video up here in the next couple of days when we get this thing up and going, get it all figured out, and we'll see you guys soon.